Alright, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the wait there, just had to take care of something, but it's all resolved now. So we can go ahead and get started with more Fire Force. So let's begin, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reading of Fire Force. Today, we're going to be checking out Volume 14 of the series titled, Welcome to the Oasis. Halster, it's good to see you here. Let's begin. Summary. Shinra and 6 other members of the Special Fire Force have been chosen for Operation Chinese Landing. They head for the spatial tear to the northwest of Xingqing, Xingqingdao, but on their way they meet the mole Scop and other animals who have been chased out of the oasis. Scop guides the team to his former home in the heat of what stands in the heart of what stands the Tabernacle, an edifice identical to Amaterasu, the keystone of the Tokyo Empire. What is the true nature of this tabernacle, and what is the connection between the Adolaburst and the great cataclysm of 250 years ago? So, the chapters we have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chapters, starting at chapters 115, all the way down to 123. So let's go, with Shinra going,
What's that doing here? I'd know it anywhere. Hey, I said get down! Now see you! But I thought Vulcan's ancestors made it.
Chapter 115, The Oasis. You guys can hear me, right? I wanted to make sure. Yeah, you can hear me. I don't know why it's still saying that you can't, but you can. Chapter 115, The Oasis. And then we got licked, as Shinra has told everyone else about it, and everyone is up top, checking out this space. Sorry, lip balm on my lips. Shinra's right. It may be on the smaller side, but as far as I can tell, that's an Amaterasu. Then Tamaki.
Are you sure it's an Amaterasu?
Even if it's not, it's still weird that we found something that looks just like it way out here. Then Pan. We'll have to go down and investigate. And then we have Scop.
The tabernacle is in the middle of the oasis. Let's go. Stay in the shadows.
I think this is a better voice for Scop that I'm giving him now.
Let's go. Stay in the shadows.
And then they go down into the forest with Tamaki going,
The trees look normal and healthy, too.
The tabernacle is... Who's saying this? Is this Shinra or is this Licht? The tabernacle is northwest of here. And as they're walking, Scop is riding with Pan. Where is this evil gang you told us about?
They should be hanging out around the tabernacle.
So if we want to investigate it, we're definitely going to run into them. And then as Tamaki looks overhead, she goes,
If the tabernacle is just like Amaterasu, then its power source is an Adolaburst, right? Does that mean that it was the Adolaburst that brought back all the plants?
And then Arthur. But I thought Vulcan's ancestors invented Amaterasu. Then we have, Licht. The official story is that it was created by the Holy Soul Temple and Vulcan's ancestors. But that story is going to change depending on whether the Tokyo Amaterasu came first or this one did. So it's possible that this wasn't the first one. And then we have Shinra. Wait, who's saying this? Is this Shinra?
If the Adolaburst brought back this whole forest, then it could help revive the whole world. I knew it! The Adolaburst is a pure sacred flame!
And then Licht. Or it's what led to the world's collapse in the first place. And then Shinra just rethinks his words. And then Arthur sees something. No, it's Juggernaut. Huh? I keep seeing man-made artifacts. We saw a few before we got here, too. A lot of them are from the days before the cataclysm.
We're getting close to the center of the oasis. You better be on your guard.
And then Scop tells him, Stop!
Look, we made it to the pillars.
And then we see a pillar sticking up out of the ground. It's probably because he's a talking animal, but he reminds me of Meowth from the Pokemon anime, even though you don't think the voices are the same at all. I know he gives you Meowth vibes. A talking creature, a small talking creature.
Meowth, that's right. Jesse James, we gotta get that Pikachu from that little squirt.
I know the voice. But Scott goes,
These pillars are set up all around the tabernacle. From here on, we're in the thieves' territory.
we're only here to investigate. I don't want there to be any fighting if we can avoid it.
What? You want to bargain with them? No way! They're not exactly open to conversation,
Goes Yata. Then Shinra.
Spontaneous human combustion has been plaguing humanity since the Great Cataclysm, and we might finally get to the heart of what's causing it. If Scop is right, and we can't negotiate with them, then we should investigate by force if we have to. Yeah, you said it, hero!
Goes Scop. And then Pan chimes in. That's outside of mission parameters. We can't just jump into battle with outside parties.
We're going to find answers about the Cataclysm, and no one's going to stand in our way!
And as he's doing this, the first pillar shows up in his mind. And then Arthur grabs him and goes, "You're doing it again."
We came this far. We can't go back without doing our investigation. I agree with Kusakabe,
Goes Tamaki. That goes without saying, but we're fire soldiers, not army men. We save fighting for a last resort. If possible, we want to resolve this peacefully.
But wait! I helped you find this place. You have to take back the Oasis back for. You have to take the Oasis back for us.
We're not going to just attack them without asking questions. We're going to try to talk to them first.
But I'm telling you, they won't talk.
And as that goes on, Shinra notices something behind them. And then when they look behind them, they see dogs.
Dogs? Infernal dogs!
Actual dogs who have gone infernal. Our first showcase of animals becoming infernal. And then one bites Shinra's butt.
Ow! Infernal dog!
Infernal dog is a stupid name. I'd call it a hellhound. And then more of these hounds just run up, with Ogun going, "It doesn't matter. Let's get out of here." And then, everyone starts running.
See? I told you! There's no talking to them!
The gang you told us about is a bunch of dogs.
Get in the trees!
And then it shows one of the dogs biting onto Juggernaut.
Ow! Help me! That hurts! Help me! Somebody help!
And then we have Tamaki.
Ashes as ashes. May thy soul return to the great flame of fire.
And Arthur proceeds to, extinguish all of these hellhounds attached to Juggernaut.
Flat Tome. They may be dogs, but it's still our duty as fire soldiers to release them from the flames, just like we would with humans.
You should have told us they were dogs.
You expected to find humans all the way out here? Those dogs ate my friends, and believe it or not, we did try to fight back. But their boss is even worse than they are. There was nothing we could do.
Yoda, what's going on? And then Shinra's, "Yo, Alessio, what's going on?" But then Shinra looks in a distance, and then he sees this Amaterasu, this old Amaterasu in the distance, and the words "protect the forest" rings in his head. And then he looks closer and closer and sees a symbol on this power plant. And then flames start to swirl around him.
Was that an Adola link? Did that voice come from the tabernacle?
And that's the end of chapter 115. Onwards to chapter 116, Holy Ground. And we have Shinra just standing there in the forest, with Lick noticing something's going on with him. "Are you alright, Shinra? That look on your face. Did you just..."
Yes, I heard a voice. Protect the forest.
So it wasn't a Dola Link, and you heard a voice? Whose voice? Do you think it was the bandits' leader?
No, I really don't know exactly. But it sounded like it was coming from that Amaterasu tabernacle.
Well, that confirms that the tabernacle is using an Adola burst. But can you link with inorganic matter? And then we have Scop.
Do you get it now? They don't talk. They just attack.
So when are we doing Jujutsu Kaisen? Sunday, as always. I never do early scan readings of it, ever. When I read chapters such as One Piece, My Hero, and Jujutsu, it will always be on Sundays when they're available.
Do you get it now? They don't talk. They just attack. Scop, we get what you're saying. Now can you tell us more about the tabernacle? The tabernacle is the most important thing in the world to us. Because it created the Oasis? No. It happened a little while after the Great Cataclysm destroyed the world. A traveler showed up one day.
And it's this one person who's a hooded figure. Good to see you, Psycho.
She was a human woman wearing robes of purest black.
And it shows this lady who's in this robe, but it's like heavily tattered.
Before she came, all we animals could do in this barren wasteland was wait around for death. But she preached to us and taught us how to speak. Why did you come here, miss?
I came from beyond the spatial tear to recreate this world.
And
then she tears off a piece of her robe and gives it to the mole, who we would later know as Scop. You must be hungry. Go on, touch the flame. And there's a flame, and she makes a flame appear out of her hand, and it just floats in the midst of all these animals. You see rats, foxes, all sorts of different creatures, birds, and even moles.
The flame she conjured was so warm. The next thing I knew, my hunger was gone, and I had a lot more years ahead of me than I had before. But one day, she restored the long-ruined tabernacle and disappeared.
And it just shows the face of this woman.
That tabernacle is what gave us the Oasis, and what keeps us alive. We owe everything to her. We must come back here one day. She might come back here one day, and we're gonna keep this tabernacle safe until she does. Where did she go?
Goes Tamaki.
That was the last anyone ever saw of her. She needs a place to come home to, and we can't let those bastards take it from her!
And you see fire flicker in Scop's eye. And then we have Licht. And I'm betting that tabernacle corresponds to the location we're here to investigate. Then Pan, let's go. And then we have Shinra talking to Yata as they continue walking.
How did those bandits survive in the wasteland before they came to the Oasis? I don't know. Survival isn't really an issue for them, is it? Not an issue?
And then we have Scop again.
There! I see one!
And we see someone in a big old light robe walking through the forest.
A human? Ex-human.
As we see fire flickering from around the edges of the hood. And then it turns out to be an infernal. And then Licht steps what appears to be, Why aren't we supposed to play a video game? Did you change it to Fire Force? I have no idea what you mean by that. But Licht steps into a trap, like a lead trap, and it flings him upwards.
Ah! Help me! Licht!
And then Pan is blowing into his whistle going, "It's a trap!"
You should have told us they were infernals. Of course they're infernals. Out here, they're all infernals.
And then the infernal starts making its way towards them because it sees them. It saw us! Shinra, help Inspector Licht.
Yes, sir!
And then as it's whipping Licht towards a whole bed of spikes,
Licht!
we see Licht apparently land on the spikes. And then we see the infernal engulf him in flames. He's dead! And then Shinra flies over and kicks the infernal.
No, Licht, are you okay?
And then Licht is fine as he starts to get up.
Ow.
Huh? I thought I was dead.
What a relief. Lieutenant Pon's defense buff made it in time.
And then it shows Pan whistling again. As Licht looks at him and is all like, incredible. But then we cut to the next page, and it shows a whole bunch of infernals in this forest, along with those infernal dogs.
He's got friends.
Now I really am dead. And then they're running, But then these infernal dogs are running, but before that happens, they dodge out of the way as Ogun shoots some of his spears at them. Shinra, take Lick somewhere safe.
How dare you eat my friends in Defile Oasis! Give us back our tabernacle!
As Scott bares his fangs. Scott bares his fangs, but then the Infernal speaks.
Humans, who are you?
He can talk?
Guess that shouldn't be too surprising. Shouldn't be too surprising after the mole.
So we animals aren't even worth noticing? A talking infernal. I've seen one of those before.
It said at this time you were going to play a video game, but then it changed into Fire Force for some reason, but that was like yesterday. It said you were playing a video game at this time. I did not have any games scheduled. I may have played Warframe, but that was the day before yesterday, I believe. I believe it was the day before yesterday. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday when I played Warframe because the update. Was it? I think it was the day before yesterday. No, I think it was the day before yesterday. I was playing Warframe, but I didn't have any other game thing scheduled. It was just Fire Force. It was just Fire Force. I didn't have any game thing scheduled today.
A talking infernal. I've seen one of those before.
And we're reminded of Setsuo. Remember that man who was on trial, and then he turned infernal, but he could still speak?
Miyamoto! Why won't you talk to me? Don't ignore me just because I'm an animal!
Sikkim.
And then this one infernal is directing the other ones. Are you here for the Tabernacle's creative energy? It was probably just a glitch. It was more than likely a glitch because trust me, if we were playing a game right now, I'd be playing a game right now instead of reading. But it was probably a glitch. YouTube does that sometimes. Don't sweat it. But Pan, are you here for the Tabernacle's creative energy? Then won't you consider living in harmony with the animals?
Get out of the oasis! Now!
You think its power is for creation? Don't be ridiculous. It was made to destroy the world.
Amaterasu will destroy the world? What does he mean?
As it shows this derelict Amaterasu here in this oasis. But that's the end of chapter 116. Onwards to chapter 117, Smoldering Malevolence. And it just shows Shinra and company still talking to these infernals.
That tabernacle looks like Amaterasu. And you're saying it's a weapon made to destroy the world?
It is to destroy.
But Vulcan's clan made the Amaterasu in Tokyo. That one's different, right? Says Arthur.
Wait, the pieces do fit. Dr. Giovanni came to Vulcan's workshop to get the key to Amaterasu.
I found it. So this is where you've been hiding it. As we get like a little bit of a flashback of Dr. Giovanni.
Dr. Giovanni and the Evangelist's cronies are trying to recreate the Great Cataclysm. I don't know why they'd want to do that, but it means destroying the world again. And if Dr. Giovanni needs the key, that means they need Tokyo's Amaterasu to do it, right?
So, you're saying it's true? Goes Arthur.
No! No!
As it shows Scop blindsiding Arthur going,
She made that tabernacle! There ain't no way it's supposed to destroy the world! Take a look at this forest! This is all here because of the tabernacle! I mean, sure, her face was pretty scary. She had this creepy smile that made her look like some sort of devil.
And, you know, since Shinra's kind of used to being called that, he kind of is silent on this statement.
But there was nothing left for us but death. And she gave us words. She gave us longer life. She gave us the Oasis. Yeah, the voice I heard from the Adola Link didn't sound evil. I'm gonna believe Scop. And I won't let them use the tabernacle as a force of destruction.
But then we see some numbers. We see some numbers on this stone tablet on the ground here in front of one of these infernals.
The last stone tablet. So that's all of them.
And the thing about these Infernals is they also happen to have the same clothes as the white-clad evangelists as well.
All of the tablets together will allow us to activate the destruction sequence. Come, the day of our soul's release is near. Join me, and we will greet the end times. At last, we will be free from the pain of these flames. Oh, Senpai-sama. Senpai-sama, human intruders. What? Humans here? My servants, the time has come for you to perform your final task for me. We won't let anyone stand in our way. I will grant rest and glory in the next life only to those who have served me in this world. Work, 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 work! Show me your devotion. Kill those who stand in our way. Do my bidding. Kneel before me. Bow your heads to me. That is the path to salvation. That is the only way to be free of your burning flesh.
And all these other Infernals just bow to this Senpai-sama. And then it cuts to Arthur, who's just extinguishing Infernals. You know, as Tamaki gives prayers.
Latom.
Return to the great flame of fire. You're ruthless. I am releasing them from the pain of the flames. Let's assess the situation. And this is Pan. It looks like they're trying to use a tabernacle to destroy something.
They've been collecting the stone tablets. I bet they have a lot of them by now. Those tablets might be the key to redirecting the tabernacle's power into something explosive.
Stone tablets. And this is Shinra saying this.
The Infernals have a leader, a guy with these big scary horns. He's the one who ordered them to collect the tablets. What?
Horns? There's a horned Infernal here? I've read about them in the reports. Doesn't it take a crap ton of firepower to extinguish one? If there's a demon here, that's going to change things significantly. What? Are they that bad? It won't be possible to put it out. Put it to rest with this team alone. And then both Scop and Yatta is looking at the group.
Does that mean all we can do is turn back?
We can't take control of the area if there's a demon here. But if they're trying to use a tabernacle to cause a big explosion, we can't just ignore it.
Look, son, don't you have any ideas about beating demon infernals?
It was a miracle that we managed to extinguish that last one. We just happened to have the right people in the right place at the right time. Either way, we'll need enough fire to blow the whole forest to bits.
What? No, you can't!
And because you know how Scott feels about this. Wait a minute. I thought we came here to investigate the tabernacle. Why are we talking about extinguishing demons?
We can't just let them get away with this. We have to stop them. Besides, even if we can't put it to rest, we can still slow it down. Or we could lure the demon away and investigate while it's gone. Raising heck is my specialty!
As he holds up his feet, which are just, flaming right now, just to show off. Shinra, Ogun, you're the most mobile. You created a version. Arthur, Tamaki, Juggernaut, you stand watch. Inspector Licht and I will investigate the tabernacle while the Infernals are distracted.
Does this mean you can't get rid of them?
And this is Scott. We're in it this deep already. We're going to stop the Infernals' plot, but it won't be easy to take out a demon.
Is that right?
And then Shinra walks over to Scop and pats him on the head.
Don't worry, Scop. We'll get your Oasis back. I'm gonna beat that demon.
And then Scop starts smiling and he goes,
Shinra!
And then as we're there, and Scop is now riding on the back of Shinra's clothes because, since he said that we're going to get rid of the Infernals, Scop wants to be next to him. But we're at the front of the entrance of the tabernacle now.
There's the entrance to the tabernacle.
And while that's going, and everyone's sneaking, Juggernaut is carrying Arthur in front of him like a shield. And then Pan tells everyone to stop, and they stop. Shinra looks around, and then he starts walking forward.
There's nobody here.
And as Shinra and Ogun start making their way towards the front, they get to the door.
So this is the way in.
And then Shinra puts his hand up to motion everyone to go, get close. Then they open the door, and it shows Licht, Arthur, and Pan preparing to go in. If there aren't any infernals around, this is our chance. Inspector Licht and I will go in and investigate. Arthur, you're with us. Your sword is just what we need if we run into any locked doors. The rest of you keep watch outside.
Yes, sir.
Now get to it. And he starts whistling. But, everyone tells him to shush because it's going to draw attention.
Yeah, sorry. Habit.
And this is Ogun going, let's find places to hide so they don't see us keeping watch. And it shows Licht, Arthur, and Pan entering into this very dark facility. The inside of this place is in perfect condition. I can't believe it's been here for 250 years.
Of course it's in good condition, stupid. We were keeping it nice and clean until they kicked us out.
Because Yata is traveling with them too. There might be something inside. Be careful, as they get to another pair of doors. And they open it, and they see stone tablets with multiple numbers all over them, just like the one we saw before.
Are these the stone tablets you told us about?
What are these numbers? And as that happens, a door slams right behind Arthur and company, trapping them inside.
A trap?
Then we see Shinra with Scop and everyone else outside as multiple infernal whiteclads make their way there.
We're surrounded.
Kill all who stand in our way.
As we get the very horned infernal who's leading this group showing up. And that's the end of chapter 117. Onwards to chapter 118. These Roman numerals, they're going to make me slip up one day. They're really going to make me slip up one day.
Uncultured barbarians, despoiling our sacred temple grounds.
There are more behind us.
As they're completely surrounded.
Kill them.
What do we do? We have to run. The rest of the team's still in there. You just want to lead them here? The demon's with them. What do we do?
The infernal set a trap. They can think. As they all start rushing towards towards Shinra. Sorry, I got that stuck in my brain. I apologize. But the infernals start rushing towards Shinra, and he starts dodging away from them. And as he's getting his balance, the same horn infernal goes,
This is our holy temple. We will not let anyone desecrate this sacred land.
Desecrate? This oasis belongs to the animals. You're the ones coming in here and desecrating the place. Can't you all just be friends and live together in peace?
Live together? What you call a tabernacle is an instrument of destruction. Using it to revive a force is utterly senseless. Allow me to burn it all to ash instead!
As this horned infernal makes numerous flaming fireballs over his head, and he throws it towards everybody, and it just turns into straight up mortar rounds, and the whole area is just buffeted with shots all over.
Why are you trying to destroy everything?
So that I can go to heaven.
And then one shot goes towards Shinra, and he kicks it, and he knocks it away, inadvertently destroying one entire tree, with Scop raising a voice going,
Quit wrecking our forest! Sorry.
For 250 years since the Great Cataclysm, I have wandered in this body that cannot die. I want to die, but to do so, I need an explosion at least as grand as this tabernacle can provide. And if someone as great as myself is to pass on to the afterlife, I will need servants to care for me in heaven. Of course, the effects of the explosion might reach as far as Xing Qing Dao. I shall let its citizens also look after me in the afterlife.
And all the infernals that follow this one infernal go,
Oh, Tempe-sama.
We will follow you to the very end!
I gotta reconsider this guy's voice, because with a voice as gravelly as this, it could wreak havoc on my voice if I continue as much as I am. So I gotta think of a better voice. And I've already thought of one.
For 250 years, since the Great Cataclysm, I have wandered in this body that cannot die. I want to die, but to do so, I need an explosion at least as grand as this tabernacle can provide. And if someone as great as myself is to pass on to the afterlife, I will need servants to care for me in heaven. Of course, the effects of the explosion might reach as far as Qingdao. I shall let its citizens also look after me in the next life.
Yep, that's the voice I'm gonna use for him. Oh, Tempe-sama!
We will follow you to the very end!
You would bring all these people down with you just because you want to die? You gotta be kidding me! You want to die? Then die, but leave us out of it!
He can't die.
What?
It's just like he said. To extinguish a demon, we'll need at least enough firepower to blow away the entire force.
But...
And if you'll be joining me in the afterlife,
what responsibility shall I assign you in the hereafter?
all I can do is grow potatoes, Tempe-sama.
You're actually going along with this?
Because, Juggernaut acting kind of cowardly right now.
But what if we can't put him to rest? What do we...
Why would you even ask that? There's only one thing we can do. Fight!
And then Shinra uses Rapid to just disappear so fast that Scop is still airborne. And he launches towards Tempe. Infernal Tempe.
What do you think you're doing?
It didn't work! As Shinra hits him, but it leaves no scratch, just like his encounter with Charon earlier. And then he proceeds to punch Shinra. And then he takes both of his hands, and with a double-fisted blow, he launches Shinra backwards. Oh, no. Oh, I was wrong. I thought it was just hitting Shinra. But he's hitting Shinra with a full-on attack.
Tempe's holy light!
And engulfs Shinra in this big old explosion.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy!
This is the blessed light I bestow upon all who will join me in death.
And as that happens, Shinra, the orb that Shinra got caught in, then it explodes.
Shinra!
Goes Scop.
We're not powerful enough to beat him. All we can do is buy time, just like we planned.
If we don't stop him now, everybody's gonna end up dead anyway. Stalling for time's not good enough. They're gonna blow Qingdao off the map.
He's right. The potato field will become a baked potato field.
Please tell me that's not your biggest concern.
It's not, but...
Investigating the tabernacle and extinguishing this demon. Those are our only priorities. But how can we extinguish it with just the four of us? What can we do to generate the same amount of firepower as Captain Shinmon? And a Dola Link. If I can get the grace of the Evangelist, maybe I could extinguish a demon. No, the Evangelist isn't even on our side. I couldn't get her grace even if I weren't hundreds of miles away. We'll give it all the firepower we got. Resisting me will earn you a demotion in the afterlife. When Lieutenant Pan and the others get back outside, he could use some enhancements. Then maybe.
And then Shinra starts twitching all of a sudden.
What's wrong, Kusakabe?
And then his heart starts beating as the face of the woman that Scop knows suddenly shows up out of the dark. To Shinra, kinda. Like it just appears in his mind.
Yeah! And a Dola Link? What was that?
Then we're back with Pan and Company as I keep calling them Pan, but it's Pan. We're back with Pan and Company as they're looking at these tablets, and in the same room they got trapped in. Do they know we're here? And they think this will lock us in? With my Excalibur, I can open that door right now. What do you say? No, let's keep investigating. And this is Licked. There's no sense in letting the demon come get us. Good point. Anyway, These numbers, what in the world do they represent? They just keep going, all the way down the hall. Maybe it's some kind of code? No, if it were a code, we should see some kind of methodology. Yeah, methodology. We should see some kind of methodology. But at a glance, these numbers have no rules to them at all. They're almost completely random. A bunch of random numbers.
Ah! We've seen these numbers before! I don't think they mean anything.
Even if they don't have any general meaning, they should mean something to the person who put them here. And then Pan looks up with his flashlight and sees numerous numbers up across the top of the ceiling. Like, in the border. On the border between the wall and the ceiling, like that crease, there's numbers like towards the ceiling. Look. There are numbers, there are lines of numbers everywhere. What do I think of when I think of random numbers? 3, 4, 1, 0, 2, 5, 1, 5. The king. A mythologized ruler of lands. Yo, CDs! What's going on? Hey, this is pi. What? The fact that Arthur could tell that all those numbers was pi, he could tell that all those numbers go for pi, but this man couldn't remember his right from his left, or even basic instructions with... Okay, Arthur confuses me. But that is the end. That is the end of chapter 118. Onwards to chapter 119. Chapter 119. The Mystery of the Tabernacle. Pi? These numbers? Yeah, see? The numbers on the wall are easiest to make out. You know pi, Arthur? Just hear him use the word pi is surprising enough. But it is a string of random, apparently irregular numbers. The possibility is certainly there. Why do you know the numbers and pi? Because I am a knight of the round table. I have studied I have studied circumference. Circumference. Not the actual word circumference. He thinks that the word circumference means circumference. I had a moment where I thought Arthur could actually be smart, and then it just went downhill. Because I am a knight of the round table, I have studied circumference. Round table? What a stupid reason to. That's very you, Arthur. What is pi anyway? And who is circumference? And everyone falls out because now it's like, where did all those smarts of a couple of seconds ago go? Seconds ago, go. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Most people know it as far as 3.14, but the full number is still being calculated and no one knows its exact value yet. And Licht is taking photos. It's not that I don't trust you, Arthur, but until I can get this back to Tokyo and check it against the real pi, Scop says these tablets are the switch to turn the tabernacle into a weapon. I have a hard time believing that putting a bunch of tablets on display would activate a meltdown. And Licht continues to take photos. Maybe there's something else that would be the key to its activation. Let's keep looking. Then we come back to Arthur on the outside as he's having this Adola link with the woman that Scop spoke of earlier.
Was that another Adola link? A woman who looked like a devil.
And then it shows members of the white-clad, infernal evangelist running towards Shinra, but then Olgun defends him. You're the one yelling about extinguishing the demon, don't just stand there staring! And then it shows Juggernaut and Tamaki as more white-clad infernals run after them. Kotatsu! They're coming from over here too!
Of course they are, we're surrounded! Fire cat's tails!
And then Tamaki starts using her own pyrokinetic abilities.
The flame is his soul's breath. The black smoke is his soul's release. Ashes as ashes. May thy soul return to the great flame of fire.
She started the prayer. Shinra, let's do this! And then Ogun starts fighting, taking out numerous infernals in the process. And then as some of them make their way towards Ogun, he's still defending himself. Then we get Juggernaut. You missed me! Yoruba brand! And he takes what looks to be like a short, I can't tell if it's a short spear or a short dagger, and he stabs it into another infernal. And then he spins around and makes another dagger appear at his feet, and he kicks it directly into the body of another infernal. And as all these infernals have these daggers stuck in them, he goes, "Finish him off!" And he just throws his hands up, and they all explode. Hope you can give you some time more good stream the next 2 days, because you'll be off Monday and Tuesday. Give you continue more good stream the next 3 days. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to be having more streams on top of me reading Fire Force. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing some other stuff. We're going to have another chill stream like we had before, because I feel like it's been a minute since I had it. And especially whenever I'm doing like reading through whole series, that really does eat up a whole bunch of time that I would normally dedicate to games and stuff for you guys. So yeah, we'll definitely do something. But they all explode. And then it shows Shinra defending himself against all these infernals. And all these infernals are just falling around Tempeh, Infernal Tempeh.
My servants! My servants!
And then it shows Tamaki praying, and Tempeh dashes towards Tamaki. But because she has her eyes closed, she doesn't see him running towards her. And she opens her eyes, and she's surprised as Juggernaut goes, "Kotatsu-san!" And Juggernaut runs directly in front of Tamaki as Tempeh tries to jab and stab Tamaki and winds up stabbing straight through Juggernaut. No, it's just you're just eager to come and vibe with you on a day off, because some of my days off you don't be streaming. I know. I just be busy with so many other things. I'm still working on my game review, so that's been eating up a lot of my time. But we got Juggernaut, who's been impaled by Infernal Tempeh. Tempeh.
That's fun!
Juggernaut! And then Shinra comes in and kicks Tempeh to the side.
Oh no! How could this happen?
He needs medical attention now!
It's better this way, Kotatsu-san. No, it's not, Juggernaut, you... Oh, no, I mean, it's better I got hit there, because it missed me. What?
And Juggernaut just pulls his whole arm through the hole like he's fine. And he's fine. I started to go southern then. Like, he just pulled his whole arm through like he's fine. But he pulls his arm through the hole that Tempeh put up, and that Tempeh made, and he's all rubbing his head going, "Phew, I'm so glad I bundled up."
It isn't a matter of just wearing layers!
What's going on inside those clothes?
And then it shows the Hellhounds, and they launch and they start biting all over Juggernaut.
Ah! Juggernaut!
And it shows Juggernaut being torn to pieces. And you just see his torso just laying there. No legs, no arms. But then his legs and arms come back and they just stretch out.
He's not doomed!
I'm so glad I bundled up.
A pseudo-immortal character.
I see you're not easily disposed of. I will send you to the next life personally.
And then Tempeh creates a scythe out of fire. How can I sound like them country boys? Lots and lots of practice. I do a lot of impressions, and I listen to voices, and it's a throat thing and a mouth thing. You just gotta feel it. You just gotta get into the groove of it, and then it'll just flow. It'll just flow out. It'll just be like pouring over like rivers of water, and it'll just happen over and over until it's impossible for you to stop. You see how much I can keep going with this? This is what it has. Sometimes you have one that's incredibly thick, And then sometimes you have one that isn't as thick, but you can tell the difference. I mean, if you can emphasize it, you can give yourself some of one of the thickest country accents you've ever known. But then you can just kind of bring it down just a little bit, and it won't be as forceful, and maybe on occasion it won't sound so ridiculous. You know, do that hack and spit while I talk country. I ain't spitting in my room. What am I going now? What am I going to spit in my room for? Part of his gag is he just wears a lot of layers of the uniform, as Shinra just revealed. Yeah, pretty much. He just has a whole bunch of clothes. But we have Tempeh, who's created a fire scythe, and he goes, "You will be mine in death!" And he slashes his scythe, and it creates this big old wave of fire that engulfs Ogun and Shinra.
Yeah, even if I used the corna, I wouldn't have enough firepower to extinguish this demon.
Protect.
Snuff them tobacco, never touch this stuff. I don't touch smokes, cigarettes, to chewing tobacco, anything that could give me the cancer of insert mouth, lung, or anything here. I'm not a drinker either, so I ain't gonna be drinking none of that either. I mean, I like to keep myself clean. I like to be pure. Give me my Baconators, but keep them drinks, keep that Hennessy, keep that wine, keep that Moscato away from me, because I don't need it. I need to focus here. I'm sorry, everybody.
Protect.
You again? I'm going to. Scop and his friends already asked me.
Protect the forest.
I told you, I will! But I have no way to do it! The woman who looks like a devil. You're the one talking to me, aren't you? Where are you? Scop and his friends are waiting for you to come back to them.
The forest.
Where could it be coming from?
And when Shinra is clashing with Tempeh, he gets knocked towards this Amaterasu, and notices that it's rumbling. Why don't I... Hold on. I'm being paged. Family's grabbing my food, so I should have more than enough time to get all of this done. Why you don't have a voiceover series? I mean, like, why you not in any of these anime shows? I guess the right people just haven't heard my voice yet. I guess that's the thing. I need to do more voiceover videos. I got some other voiceover videos that I want to do, but my game review video takes priority. So I'm going to prioritize that first. But once that's done, I'll start doing a whole bunch more voiceover videos, because I've been having these ideas in my head that I kind of want to get out there. But Shinra is looking towards this Amaterasu as it's rumbling. And then it starts rumbling even inside, and it's like a heartbeat, as we see Licht and company looking at it strangely.
This heartbeat. Is there something alive in there?
And that's the end of chapter 119. Onwards to the next one.
Dang it! That was a sturdy lock you just burned off. That's sacred ground in there. I'm not going in. Don't go desecrating anything while I'm out here.
And it shows Lichten Company. Lichten Company looking up at the core, the innermost part of this building. So this is the heart of the tabernacle.
Is that sound coming from a machine? It's like the heartbeat of a living creature.
Chapter 120, At the Core. And we see the core, and it's just beating over and over and over. Over and over and over, as if it's a heartbeat inside. Kyushu, I can definitely see you as the next man with many voices, and that's me being real. Oddly enough, I watched an interview with Mel Blanc on a Johnny Carson clip earlier this morning, so that is not an odd coincidence that you would say something like that. Interesting. But let's continue. It looks like the hall with all the stone tablets surrounds the center of the structure. To think such a simple configuration would produce such enormous energy. If what's inside this door is an Adola burst, then I guess this is as far as we can go. What's that? As it shows what looks to be an arrow inside of a lock in this door. A white-fletched arrow. That looks like an arrow sticking out of that keyhole. And there are more of them over here. 1, 2, 3, 7 of them. And the arrowheads are shaped like keys, including the one in the keyhole. Including the one in the keyhole, that's 8. 8? And that's when, like the 8 pillars. Okay. So some memories of me watching this season of the anime are starting to come back. They're starting to come back. 8. And then it just keeps going. The core just continues to have this heartbeat. Pillars, white-fletched arrows, and the word that ties them both together is sacrifice. This is completely random, but you know Johnny Young Bosch. You knew he was a voice actor, but earlier today you just learned he's been in Power Rangers. Oh yeah, Johnny Young Bosch has already had a pretty decent history of doing voice acting, even before we knew him as, Ichigo Kurosaki and, what is his name? Nero from Devil May Cry, and, of course, later on, Sabo. Pillars, white-fletched arrows, and the word that ties them both together is sacrifice. Huh? In the ancient culture of old Japan, when a white-fletched arrow was sticking out of the roof of a house, it means someone living there had been chosen as the human pillar, the sacrifice. And this heartbeat, it has to come from a living creature. Plus, if the tabernacle and Amaterasu are both powered by Adola bursts, then the results of Joker's secret investigation were right, and Amaterasu's power source is the source of that Adola burst. A human being! Sacrifice? You don't mean in there? This sound does resemble a human heartbeat. I suspect there's a strong possibility that it's the woman in black that Scop told us about. But isn't Scop waiting for her to come back? If the woman in black is through that door, then that makes sense. Then it makes sense that Shinra would be linking with a building. And Shinra's looking at the building.
Are you her? The woman that Scop and his friends have been waiting for? I was right about that first link. It was here. And this feeling.
As Shinra's looking down, we see those same black flames.
I feel Adola. It feels like the evangelist, but it's a very kind, gentle feeling. Who are you?
And then it shows Ogun still trying to defend himself against Tempeh, who's using his fire scythe. Yo! Shinra! And then it shows multiple slashes go across Tempeh, but it really doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything to him. Gah! Dang it! He doesn't even flinch! A little help! He's kicking my butt over here!
Sorry, Ogun. Could you buy me some time? If this works, I think I can extinguish the demon.
Huh?
You're the woman Scop and Yana told us about, aren't you? The one who made the tabernacle? I need grace! Can you give me grace like the evangelist can?
I don't know what you're doing, but all you need is time, right?
Ogun, I'll help,
Goes Tamaki. No, I can handle this on my own. And then Pan is looking back. We've been in here for a while. I'm worried about the team outside. Pan. You have nothing to worry about. Shinra may never be promoted above pawn, but Ogun is out there. You were our instructor. You know what Ogun can do. And then it shows Ogun taking off his jacket, and he's just bare-chested. I'm pulling out all the stops. And then flames start to wrap around Ogun, and they start to take the shape of tattoos, like flaming tattoos over him. This is cool, by the way. Flamey ink! And it's just Ogun covered in these flame tattoos. And then all we see is the face of Teppei, and then Ogun punching Teppei a solid distance away. And while he's still moving, Ogun's above him, and then just proceeds to crater Teppei directly in the ground. I don't think I can beat him, but if all you need is time, then I'll just be over here shooting hoops. And as that happens, he just keeps beating up on Teppei as he goes, until you're ready for me to pass the ball. And as this is going on, Scop is all like,
Whoa!
that's amazing.
Oh, so those rumors were about Ogun. I heard stories about a rookie in Company 4 who would sometimes generate as much firepower as Captain Burns.
And it shows Ogun just going full star platinum as he's just beating up on Teppei over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it shows Ogun steadily using its powers, but Ogun needs to be careful because overusing your fire powers can cause you to, oxidize? I think it's called oxidize. Yeah, but I can't do it for long or I'll burn myself to a crisp. So do something before I overheat. And as this is going on, Shinra's all like,
Scop and his friends are waiting for you. I know you're there. Answer me.
and Scop is looking surprised.
What's going on, Shinra? Is she here?
The woman you're waiting for is in there, operating the tabernacle.
What? So she's just been in there burning all this time?
You try talking to her, Scop. If we can get her to help, we can get rid of this demon. You made a miracle out here in this wasteland. In this wasted land. You protected the forest and the animals. I want to protect them too.
Shinra. I'm asking you too, miss. I know you helped us with everything, and we never did anything for you. But please help us one more time.
Overheat, and then you can oxidize yourself if you're overheated long enough. Got it. Overheat first, then oxidizing. But then we see like a puff of flame, and then the lady in black appears behind Shinra in this Adolescape, if you will. I heard your pleas, but I only have enough power left to maintain the forest. I cannot give you enough of Adola's grace.
Enough? I'm not asking for enough.
As things stand, if I could give you grace, it would only last a second. What can you do in a single second? Such a trifle would serve no purpose.
Just 1 second?
I am so sorry I cannot help you. And then the lady in black just disappears into the flames. Into the jet black flames. And then Shinra just smiles and goes,
1 second will be plenty.
And that's the end of chapter 120. Onwards to chapter 121. 1 second / 250 years. And it shows Ogun steadily beating up on Teppei. Shinra! How long do I have to wait here? Hurry it up!
If I can get 1 second. Ogun, sorry to keep you. I'm ready whenever you are.
And it shows Shinra preparing to use his powers. With the lady in black going, what can you do in 1 second?
I can protect the forest. There's something about you that reminds me of Adola, of the evangelist. Who are you really?
I am no different than any of you.
You said you came here to remake this world. Then what is the evangelist trying to do?
Her intent is to perform a dreadful and esoteric act, to fill this land with flames and destroy the whole of it. All I have done is create a land of refuge to last until her desired end arrives.
Cover the earth in flames? Just like Rekka said.
Come, there is no time. I give you grace.
And as the woman in black is there, we see like this black sun, and the whole area just get enveloped in black. As Shinra prepares. And then Shinra uses his rapid, like his light speed rapid, as he dematerializes, and then time seems to stop. And then everything seems to stop as it shows Ogun in front of Teppei, but we see Shinra appear in front of Teppei, and we see just a massive kick. And Shinra has kicked Teppei all the way, like, I want to say more than half a mile out the forest. The Amaterasu we just went to is pretty much far into the distance. That's how far Shinra has kicked him. It's just like what Kizaru would do. Speed is weight. Have you ever been kicked at the speed of light before? Speed is weight. You hit something at 4 miles an hour, you're not going to go much distance. But if you hit something at 400 miles an hour, whatever you hit, if it doesn't get obliterated, it's going flying. So when Shinra moves at light speed, yeah, this dude's a mile out now. What is 1 second when you can move faster than light speed? Exactly. Time stops. What time is irrelevant to those who can move faster than it. But he's kicked Teppei all the way in the air, and then we see Shinra use light speed again and hit Teppei directly into his core, and send Teppei flying all the way outside of the Oasis.
When I link with Grace, I move so fast I disintegrate. Then I go faster, past the speed of light and go back in time, so that my particles go back in time until I'm together again.
And then it shows Teppei as Shinra is preparing to materialize directly in front of him, and then we see the face of a man.
These images coming into my mind. These are Tenpei's memories.
Why me? Why only me? The great cataclysm took my money, my property. Oh yeah, and my wife and daughter. Why am I the only one still alive? I hate it. I hate the great cataclysm. It took my status, my women, my property. I hate this damnable cataclysm.
And as he's walking, he takes his staff and hits this space in the air.
Ah, I made it. This is the spatial tear. What happened beyond it?
And the spatial tear is like an actual physical thing. It's not just like it's like a physical divide. It's literally a physical divide, a physical wall that separates one section of the world from the next, where you can physically touch it. I don't remember this at all. I'm so glad I'm doing this so I can get a refresher.
This is the spatial tear. What happened beyond it?
And then he drops his staff and starts touching it.
It won't budge. Isn't there any way to get through here? Is it possible that humankind may no longer tread beyond this point?
And then Tenpei is standing there, and we see the evangelist herself walk through this literal spatial tear. And he's surprised, and then he falls to the ground.
Oh! Someone came through the tear! Whew. What are you?
And then the evangelist just smiles.
Are you God? The evangelist? Are you God? You are God, aren't you? You've come to bless me, haven't you? I've lost all my status and money in the great cataclysm. Please, grant me those pleasures once more. Please, I beg of you. The evangelist came from the other side of the tear, too. Please, give me salvation!
And then a bug is on her clothes, and it flies over to Tenpei.
A bug?
And then it goes straight into him. And then we see Tempei's body engulfed in flames, burning, turning from human flesh to charred black in one seamless panel. And then we see horns growing out of his eyes.
But this the evangelist came from the...
Oh wait, this was not him thinking this. This was Shinra.
The evangelist came from the other side of the tear too? But this Tempei guy, he's a real piece of work. I have been granted the blessings of God! The pain, the heat, it's magnificent! Now I too will be a god and preach the greatness of deity!
And this is Tempei as he's going full infernal and going insane. And then it shows Shinra in real time, fully coming back in, fully materializing and kicking Tempei directly in his stomach. And with that same hit, Shinra goes straight through him, and all we see is just the explosion of Tempei's infernal body just blowing apart. And that's the end of chapter 121. Onwards to chapter 122, The Woman in Black. And if I remember correctly, we only have one more chapter after this. Yes, we do. We're almost done, everybody. Hope you all enjoy yourselves. But we see a massive, almost nuclear-like explosion. Mind you, Shinra kicked this man miles out, back out into the desert. And yet the shockwave from this explosion that Shinra inflicted onto Tempei can be felt all the way back to everyone back at the tabernacle. That's how big of an explosion it was.
What?
And then Ogun's looking around. Where's the demon? Mind you, and remember, Shinra moved so fast that he moved within a single second. So the moment everyone remembers the moment everyone is like, back in, the time resumes, everyone is still thinking that Ogun is fighting Tempei. Everyone is prepared for Tempei. Everything that just occurred happened within a second. So for all that to process, all they see is just like Tempei in front of them, and then an explosion miles out that they feel like a big old massive shockwave from. That's how fast everything went. Because Ogun's all like, where's the demon?
I don't see Shinra-kun either.
That's impossible. He beat the demon that fast? So that's the real power of an Adola burst. And if the Great Cataclysm took everything from him, it must have not been long, just happened, meaning he's been around a while, like Scop and everyone, apparently. But then we see Shinra floating in the air, and then he starts to fly back towards the Oasis.
I got pretty far from the forest. I better get back to the team. The evangelist came from the other side of the tear? Does that mean she's not from our world?
Soldier of the Fire Force, you truly only needed 1 second.
I heard that you came from the other side of the tear, and I sensed something from you that reminds me of the evangelist. Do you come from Adola too?
You most likely feel that way because I have been in the tabernacle, burning in the Adola burst for so long that my Adola aura has intensified. I was human once too, just like you and that demon Tempei.
Huh?
One of the evangelist's bugs awakened me to the Adola burst, and I came with her to this world. You want to know about my connections to the evangelist? But I am merely someone she brought here on a whim, nothing more. And the tabernacle is simply a repaired monument that was already there 250 years ago. To relieve the animals of land from their suffering, I used its energy for creation instead of destruction, and I built this oasis. Since ancient times, humanity has established countless religions, creating their own images of heaven and hell, of God and the devil. Despite developing in different lands and in different languages, all religions have the concepts of gods and devils. If this world's myriad religions were founded based on the other world, the Adola, that she showed them, then perhaps she has been leading mankind by the hand, manipulating their ideologies from the shadows of history since time immemorial. Or in other words, Perhaps all the gods humanity has imagined for itself were her invention. And you soldiers are trying to fight the being who created those gods.
Gods, huh? I don't care who she is. If she's trying to cause disasters, then it's my mission as a fire soldier to stop her.
It is because of that mission that this forest has been saved. Thank you.
And then it shows Licht and company exiting out of the tabernacle. Wow, I completely forgot about this conversation! Got me thinking now. The curiosity I have when I'm reading a new chapter or something unknown is starting to creep up. It's starting to creep up. But Licht is looking around going,
I heard a ridiculously loud explosion.
Ogun, are you okay?
Lieutenant Pan! We're all done over here. Shinra just extinguished the demon.
Shinra's back.
How was it inside the tabernacle? Did you finish your investigation?
It was a big success.
And then Shinra finally is able to go into the tabernacle and put his hand on the door.
I can't hear her. Has she already gone back to sleep? Thank you very much for helping me put the demon's soul to rest.
And then it cuts to Licht again.
With the things we gained from this investigation, we'll be able to take a big step forward. If it's built the same way as this tabernacle, then Tokyo's Amaterasu is also powered by a human being. And if Amaterasu's power source is a human with an Adolaburst, then that means the 8 pillars are...
You sound excited.
If you're going to say they're sacrifices, suddenly that word pillar makes sense. The first pillar is that woman who linked with me. If there's a human inside Amaterasu, then she may be that sacrifice. I felt a really intense hatred from her. It's possible she has a grudge against the people who sacrificed her.
Maybe she didn't go inside the generator voluntarily, like the tabernacle's woman in black did. Maybe they used her against her will. The Holy Soul Temple in Haijima created Amaterasu, so it looks like they really are hiding something.
The 8 arrows in the heart of the tabernacle. I'm guessing there's some kind of key. That flash drive Dr. Giovanni took from Vulcan maybe has data on it related to Amaterasu's version of those arrows. But what I can't make any sense of are these numbers. Athena-kun says they're pi, but I won't know if that's true until I go back to Tokyo and verify it. Even if it is pi, we still don't know if it's significant.
Either way, we can't be sure that things are going exactly the way the Evangelist wants them to. I'm starting to get a clear picture of the Evangelist's plot. She wants to sacrifice the 8 Adolaburst pillars and use Amaterasu to cause another great cataclysm. I don't want to dance to her tune for another second. A god? Yeah, right! We will stop her!
And then it cuts to Shinra and company at the truck. And then we get Yata and Scop. You're leaving already?
You came all this way? Stay for a while.
Heroes are busy guys.
Heroes, eh? You're so cool, Shinra. Here I am, a puny weakling who's always letting someone else save the day. I can't do anything for myself. Not even fight. I'm just a coward.
It's not your fault if you can't do something. You can't help it. You're not a coward. No one wins if you destroy yourself by clinging to your stubborn self-reliance. You wanted to save the forest, didn't you? So what's wrong with asking for help to do it? It takes a certain kind of courage to recognize your limits and ask for help when you need it. If you're ever in trouble again, just call. That's what heroes are for.
And then Scop just wipes his eyes because he's getting teared up here.
I'll dig 1,000 holes every day to get stronger, and if I'm still too weak, I'll ask for your help again.
And then Shinra just smiles as Shinra and company prepare to leave.
See you next time!
And then it cuts as they're making their way back. Everyone except Licht go crazy with the gas again, with Licht going,
Why won't you wear gas masks?
Heck yeah!
And that is the end of chapter 122. Onwards to the last chapter of this volume, chapter 123, Moving Shadows. And we see the first pillar surrounded in flames, and we see Shinra surrounded in flames. And then Shinra's talking to her. She was the mastermind behind religion and belief in gods and devils, heaven and hell. When I first watched it in the anime, that shook me because I wasn't expecting that. How have I ever said, you love this series, it ain't no One Piece, but it's special and so good in its own way? I knew you loved this series the moment I announced that I was doing this whole series, and you said you got choked up because you were excited for me to read Fire Force. Trust me, I know how much you love it, but I can't wait to read the rest. What goes beyond the anime, and we're so close. I know what point we're going to be when it goes past the anime. I know what point it is. But Shinra speaking to the first pillar.
The first pillar? Are you inside Amaterasu? No. Are you Amaterasu?
And then the pillar just looks at him. Then we cut back to the Tokyo Empire and Kodaira Wharf. Everyone's made it back to Tokyo. And then it's Pan. Shinra, we're in Tokyo. Get dressed.
Yes, sir. She was in my dreams again.
Because it shows that Shinra was sleeping and he was just trying to talk to the first pillar. Then Tamaki.
I bet your mom and dad were relieved. Yup, I told them about Scop and his friends. We done took back the Oasis, so the tater thief won't need no more of our own. No, wait. We done took back the Oasis, so the tater thief won't need no more of our own. Oh, of ourn. No more of ourn. Ourn. He could have said of ours, but he says ourn. Yeah, the tater thief won't need no more of ourn. It's all hunky-dory now, eh? Oh, gee, if they needed him that bad, we could have spared a tater spud or two for him, don't you know?
And then back to the present. Sorry, it just messed me up trying to say that line. I'm so sorry. And Pan is still whistling. And Arthur, I wanted more adventure. Ogun, that gas was so much fun. Tamaki,
I'm glad you got to see your parents.
Juggernaut.
Yeah, and the taters were doing okay too.
Then Shinra.
A woman in my dreams. There was water evaporating all around her, and she looked like she was crying.
But then we see the crazed smile on her face. I don't remember eating that.
Amaterasu. Who is she anyway?
Is there really a person inside Amaterasu?
And this is Lick saying it.
Then there's a contradiction in the scriptures, you know. The teachings of the Holy Soul Temple that have been guiding the Tokyo Empire. Remember the prologue? In the distant past, mankind incurred the wrath of the stars.
Oh, we're getting taught the false teachings of the Holy Soul and Holy Soul Temple.
Prologue, the Great Cataclysm.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to read this as a narrator. Prologue, the Great Cataclysm. In the distant past, mankind incurred the wrath of the stars, and the world was wrapped in flames. This was the day of the Great Cataclysm. The flames burned so vigorously and with such fury that they consumed the land on which humanity lived. On which humanity lived, the words which they spoke, and the cultures which they had built up for themselves. Chapter 1: Holy Fire. A man appeared in the ash-covered world. This is the man who would later be known as Raffles the First. Raffles took his apostles and set off on a quest for light. At the end of his journey, Raffles found the undefiled flame and brought to humankind the light of their salvation. Sounds like the Dark Soul. You know, like Gwyn and Grave Lord Nito, and then all the witches of Izalith. It's kind of reminded me of that. At the end of his journey, Raffles found the undefiled flame and brought to humankind the light of their salvation. Chapter 2: Amaterasu. Together with his apostles, Raffles used the flame bestowed upon him by the great sun god and the technology cultivated by humankind to build Amaterasu. Amaterasu's sacred flame enriched the lives of his people and became the cornerstone for the building of a nation in the far east. Then we cut back into town. Amaterasu is running normally today. And Shinra's kind of silent.
Our country wouldn't be what it is today without Amaterasu. But what if it was the evangelist that gave us Amaterasu in the Adolaburst? If the evangelist made all this development possible, Why would she be trying to destroy the country now?
And then Lick goes, I just can't help thinking the Holy Soul Temple is hiding something. Let's get back to Company 8 and report. Then we're back at Company 8. Wow, what an adventure going all the way across the sea to China, right? Special Fire Cathedral 8.
As a result of this investigation, we have determined that there is a human being inside Amaterasu, in which case the scriptures of the Holy Soul Temple have been spreading incorrect teachings.
Everyone in the Empire knows the scriptures, and you're saying they were made up? Darn right they were. And don't even mention my family building Amaterasu. And this is Vulcan saying this, along with Captain Obi. And now you're saying there's a person inside? What were my ancestors getting themselves into? False teachings. Then you're saying it's possible that the evangelists in the Holy Soul Temple are connected. And Sister Iris, being a nun, brought up on these teachings. This is very contradictory to what she's been taught since she was a child.
Are you okay, Iris? I can't believe our whole nation was built on the sacrifice of that one woman. Yeah, it's not something that we members of the temple would want to believe. Does this mean the Holy Soul Temple is evil?
We can't say for sure, but either way, we do owe a lot of our livelihood to the temple. And I'm grateful for the blessings of the great sun god.
Thank you, sir.
The nuns aren't the only devout believers. We have to find the truth for all of them. And then we have Licht in his office, as he's just studying more and more, just checking on the numbers.
No doubt about it. Arthur Kun was right. The numbers in that tabernacle were pi. But what does pi have to do with Amaterasu?
And then he opens up a window as he's just thinking about everything.
The Holy Soul Temple scriptures are just a pack of lies, and the growth of this nation is all part of the setup.
And then it cuts back to when Licht and company were speaking about this information.
If the results of this investigation get out, they'll shake the...
Oh wait, this Ogun going.
If the results of this investigation get out, they'll shake the Tokyo Empire to its core.
I know. We'll have to treat this information very carefully.
Unfortunately, I doubt this country will ever change. They'll sweep all of this under the rug and that'll be the end of it. I guess that covers everything I can do in the Fire Force. So maybe it's time to start playing rough.
As Lick starts smiling to himself, and then he closes his window. Then we cut to Asakusa, as we cut to Benimaru.
That doesn't sound very wholesome. You want to pay your respects to the Holy Soul Temple?
Sounds fun, doesn't it?
You're not exactly a model citizen, are you? Who are you?
Oh, it's Joker!
Sounds fun, doesn't it? You're not exactly a model citizen, are you? Who are you?
The anti-hero.
The Holy Soul Temple is hiding something. You don't think that's suspicious? Not any more suspicious than you are. But that does sound like fun.
To be continued in Volume 15. Benimaru and the Joker are heading to the Holy Soul Temple. And that's the end of the final chapter of this volume. We got some translation notes, and then I can call it a session before my family gets here with food so I can help them out with it. Translation notes! Infernal Dog versus Hellhound, page 20. The Japanese word for infernal is homurabito, a combination of homura, meaning flame, and hito, meaning person. When Shinra sees these new creatures, he describes them as homurabito dogs, keeping the person part of the term intact. Arthur thinks this is ridiculous, and advises Shinra to drop the hito and refer to the dogs as homura inu, or homura dogs. Arthur's poem, page 86. The most common representation of pi is 3.14159, making Arthur's recognition of it seem incorrect, and his poem out of place. However, pi is still being calculated past the millionth digit, and the string 341025515 appear in the number at least 3 times. In order to memorize the whole thing, Arthur has used Pilish, a mnemonic device in which the length of words correspond to the decimal digits of pi. In Pilish, 0 is represented by a 10-letter word and can be combined with the next digit. In this case, mythologized represents 0 and 2. Arthur, of course, would choose knightly words to remember the digits. Who is Circumference? Page 89. The translators confess to altering Arthur's confusion somewhat. In the original Japanese, Arthur explains that he has studied things related to en, roundness, which he associates with entaku, or round table. These words for round and table are not the ones used most commonly in Japanese dialogue. I really like these translator notes. I'm learning so much. And so, despite his obsession with all things knightly, he has yet to figure out what the entaku is. Unfortunately, in order to use English terms that would make Arthur's confusion more understandable, the translators would have to remove the obvious reference to the Knights of Camelot, and so they resorted to a different play on words. Human pillar, page 112. Hitobashira, or human pillar, is a word for human sacrifice. These sacrifices were generally made at the commencement of important construction projects, either by burying the victim alive or drowning them, most likely in the case of bridge construction. I'm glad I didn't live during those times. The word pillar, or hashira, may refer to the sacrifice being a type of support for the new structure, but it's worth noting that hashira is also a counter, a suffix attached to numbers when counting, such as 1 hashira, 2 hashira, etc., used when stating a number of deities, or when referencing Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. This may be because the victim, upon being sacrificed, is elevated in status to something more than mere mortal. And then we have Shinra's shirt, page 167. A sento is a public bathhouse, as pictured under the text on Shinra's shirt. As the name suggests, this is a place of communal bathing. They may not be necessary in modern times, as most people have baths in their homes, but some people find social benefits to communal bathing, and they're useful at the end of a long day spent out of town. Also pictured on the shirt are items representing things one can find at a sento, including a fan, number keys for shower lockers, and coffee-flavored milk. And of course, we have the little comic at the end of it, but we are pretty much done. We are pretty much done with this volume, ladies and gentlemen, and I enjoyed volume 14. Can't wait to read you all volume 15 on Monday, because I don't do read-throughs on Sundays. I take breaks that day. We will continue this on Monday. So to everyone right here, right now, know that there is no greater joy I have than getting up here on this platform and entertaining all of you with my voices, my storytelling, and everything else that I do. And so to everyone here, all I can say to you is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, subscribe, even become a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!